And now the news is good with Matthew Martin.
I'm Matthew Martin, and the news is good. Tonight, hell, as described in the Old Testament. Numbers 15 records some examples of God describing people in Israel who sin ignorantly, people who stumble into an offense or who yield to the pressure of the moment. Those sort of people did wrong, and there are consequences and penalties. But if you think every person in Israel who took a tiny step out of line was automatically stoned to death, that is not how things went down back then. People were held accountable, and they had to take steps necessary to be forgiven. But when they did, they were forgiven. On the other hand, there were people who did not sin ignorantly. There were those who sinned deliberately and heartlessly. Listen to what God says about them in Numbers 15, verses 30 and 31. But the soul that does evil presumptuously, whether he be born of the land or a stranger, that same one reproaches the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of the Lord, and has broken his commandment. And the soul shall utterly be cut off, and his iniquity shall be upon him. Here's the person who sins presumptuously. This is the contrast to the sin of ignorance. This is the person who knew it was wrong and did it anyway. This is the one who, without a contrite heart, without a desire to serve God, without an appreciation either for the mercy of God for sinners or the justice of God against sinners. In this case, the aforementioned steps toward atonement and forgiveness do not apply. Those who violate God's law willingly and purposefully and presumptuously must be cut off from the people. And now, while that sometimes can mean capital punishment, stoning, it can also mean excommunication. If you're a Gentile sojourner, that just means they kick you out of the camp and they don't let you live near them anymore. If you're an Israelite, it means the same thing, but it's far more devastating. Try to imagine your entire identity being closely tied to a small group of people. You live together, you eat together, you raise your children together, you worship together, you speak a common language, you share a common ancestry, you adhere to a common culture. You are them, and they are you. Now imagine being told, depart from us. What must that be like? I wonder if that idea wasn't on the mind of the Master when he talked about those who will be told, depart from me, I never knew you. Matthew 7:23. And that they will say, oh, but didn't we do all these things? Aren't we part of the group? Matthew 7:21 and 22. And they were, at least superficially. But it's what's on the inside that counts. It's the fruit that you bear from the inside out that matters to the Lord, that determines whether or not you are truly part of Him. Matthew 7:16 through 20. These people being excommunicated from Israel, they check all the boxes of an Israelite. They have the right family connection, the right tribal affiliation, the right knowledge of the law. What's missing is a willingness to obey. They didn't bear the fruits of a sincere follower of God, and for that they must depart. And when they do, they will find themselves utterly alone, cut off, separated. For whom is this punishment reserved? It's against the one who despised the word of the Lord, the text says. It's the one who freely, even happily, broke the commands of God. That person will be utterly cut off, and he will leave his iniquity upon him. In other words, he will be removed without any opportunity for restoration. There is no example in all of the Old Testament of an Israelite being cut off via excommunication and later being allowed back into the camp. Once they're out for good. And they will forever know that their people are continuing to live, continuing to be blessed, continuing to bask in the presence of God, while they are removed, perpetually longing to return and never being allowed to. That is torture. If you want a picture of hell as described in the Old Testament, this is it. There's no more clear description, and there's no more chilling one either. It is Thursday, April 23rd, but by the time I shoot this, I am currently shooting this on Friday, March 20th. Arkansas has just won round 1 of the NCAA tournament, having just won the SEC championship tournament. Why is Matt Coe-Tools honking at me? Having just won their first conference basketball tournament in like 21 years. So, yeah, it's a big deal. And I said to myself, Self, they've won a tournament. So even if they don't go anywhere in the NCAA tournament, at least they are bringing home a trophy. And in that sense, the season is a success. And I'm telling myself that so I don't get disappointed. But they just won round one, and it was a pretty convincing win. So I'm pretty much set to think they're going to win it all. So they're going to win it all, is my hope. But I have a lot of evidence to the contrary, right? I have years and years from 1994 to 2026, 32 years? 32 years of being wrong in predicting that Arkansas will win the national championship again. They won it in 94, and then from then on, they've never won it. So I have a lot of good reason to think they won't win it. And yet still, here I come back to that well, ready to be disappointed again, ready to be hurt again. What is that? You know what that is? That is loyalty. That is such a trust in somebody, to know they have the capacity to do it, and just to believe that they can, even if they haven't 32 times in a row, I believe they can again. And that is why Jesus kept Peter around. Why Jesus did not say to Peter, that is one too many. Like, do you remember the time when Peter said to the Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother when he sins against me? 7 times? Like, Peter, you have sinned against me 7 times since breakfast. No, you need to add a few more zeros to that. 70 times 7 should be your number, Peter, because that's how many times I'm forgiving you every day. He sticks with him, and he sticks with me. No matter how many times, a lot more than 32, I have let him down. I have disappointed him. He knows I have the capacity to do right. He knows that because I was made in his image, and he always does right. And so he knows I can. I just fall short. And he gives me grace, and he gives me forgiveness, and then he picks me up. He pats me twice on the butt, and he says, get out there and try again. And I do, and I fall, and I get up, and I try again. And that's what life is. It is the constant awareness that Jesus knows I can do it. That's my prayer for you today, that you will be aware of the fact that Jesus knows you can do it. You may have fallen and failed 32 prior times or 132 prior times. You can do it. So my prayer for you is that tomorrow you get up and you tell yourself, I can be a better Christian than I was yesterday. I can be a better person than I was yesterday. I know I can be, and I'm going to be. And then try to do it. And if you fail, well, okay, you failed yesterday too. Try again. And next time you do, one of these times, you'll end the day saying, you know what, I think I did it. I don't think I was perfect, but I think I was better than yesterday. And then you'll thank God for that and for his grace that he gave you the opportunity to try to do better the next day. Have a great one.